Have you ever wondered why you feel reverent in a church? Why you feel energized in an auditorium? Or why you feel curious walking along city sidewalks with more windows? Have you ever asked yourself if your reaction is a programmed response to formulas? Let's find out why this X leads to that Y. Take the streets of Hoi An. The instinctive yet palpable shifts in my mood as I was transported to starkly different time periods and cultures in the span of 3 hours. Strolling along the French colonial buildings with their formality and structure but warmness in their mustard yellow color, I felt welcomed and unrushed. Why? Was it the contrast of the arched walkways and the square windows, or the positioning of the entry doors, or the tall flat roofs? As I entered the Chinese temples, I immediately noticed my eyes widen. The dragon-like flow of the roof edges made me feel wonder and fantasy, and the colorful level of the details of the building structure made me feel worth and value, as though the building itself was commanding my respect. It is this power that makes understanding the theories of structural creation much more than triangles and load-bearing walls. Architecture, I think, is quite actually a manifestation of manipulation. It uses angles, complex theories, models, or in essence science to elicit emotional responses. The inherent possibilities of structural creation make architecture an ever-evolving and undeniable component of our moods, our choices, and our interactions. During the first few days of starting 8th grade, I remember a sudden change of emotion as I was finding my way around one of my classes. I was excited to see a bright classroom filled with comfortable sofa chairs, a fuzzy carpet, rustic wooden tables, and wooden flooring. As I approached the door and was ever ready to open it, my friend pulled me away and whispered, "That's not our class." Thankful that she had saved me from embarrassment, we carried on walking to the class beside it. To my disappointment, we entered a classroom that was dark, had old blue carpets, uncomfortable chairs, and bland, boring walls that initiated a transformation in our moods. The ample supply of natural lighting in the first class had a calming and peaceful effect, whereas the darkness in the second brought a gloomy and dreary atmosphere. I went from being a student with a big smile and ready to learn in an environment that was calming, peaceful, and energizing to a disappointed student trying to find every strength to keep my eyes open. This experience is a great example of how materials, lighting, arrangement, color can evoke emotions both positive and negative. So captivated by the relationship between architecture and its impact on human behavior and emotions, I chose to further explore aspects of it in the final project of my Global Online Academy architecture course. I chose to explore Jakarta's bus stop issue and how it hinders citizens from using the public bus service because of its horrible conditions and thus contributing to Jakarta's severe traffic problem. As a part of my investigation, I conducted several site analyses where I realized the severity of Jakarta's bus stop issue. I noticed the many run-down bus stops covered in grit and littered with garbage, but not only were they dirty, but ineffective with uncomfortable seating. These unwelcoming conditions are what drives citizens away from using the public bus service. So putting together all the knowledge I had gained from the course, I decided to design a more effective bus stop through sketching bubble diagrams, site plans, constructing foam core models, and Google SketchUp drawings. I chose to incorporate wide roofs and side panels that curve around the bus stop to allow waiting passengers to feel sheltered and protected, as they would shield passengers from Jakarta's strong rains and aid in providing shade during sunny days. The spaciousness of the bus stop would allow the space to feel less cramped and allow for more ventilation. Additionally, the sustainable design that incorporates recycled plastic bottles and the batik pattern creates an added touch that will also help citizens feel more inclined to wait in the bus stop. My aim for the design was to transform it from functioning like the dark old classroom that I walked into to the bright classroom that I passed by with the comfortable sofa chairs. This project gave me a greater insight into the field of architecture and how the field could be used to build a stronger community. Many rundown areas pepper Jakarta and its surrounding regions, so properly learning how to rehabilitate these areas is of paramount importance. Living in a city known as the city where nobody wants to walk has allowed me to understand the negative impact that broken down sidewalks, flood zones, and concrete parks have on building a cohesive and interactive community. Thus, architecture and its impact on how we live should be catered towards the defining aspects of a community's identity and its issues, whether that be in environmental, anti-poverty, or mental health activism. Through this, a strong-knit community can be achieved. A great example of this is in Bangkok. Landscape architect Kochakorn Varakom uses gardens, parks, eco-bridges, and roofs to combat the city's flood problem while establishing community through allowing citizens to connect with nature. Likewise, in Chicago, Theaster Gates uses social activism and his artistic pottery talents to transform abandoned and ruined homes and buildings into shared spaces for the community. And here at JIS, architecture has been used to create positive learning environments for students. In the new design for the new renovation design for the library in the high school campus, we can see how architecture will be used to allow students to connect with nature. The greenery that surrounds the space, the greenery that is incorporated in the open spaces of the library, the skylights that allow sunlight to shine into the space, and the tall glass windows that will allow students to overlook the landscape are a few examples of how architecture will be used to allow students to fuse with nature. This is especially effective since nature is known for its benefits in fostering creativity, improving productivity and moods, and lowering stress levels. And all these benefits are extremely vital and beneficial to all students. So we now know that architecture can evoke emotions both positive and negative that can alter our perspectives and experiences in different spaces. But we must continue to think about and visualize the types of moods and behaviors that need to be established in order to create positivity and build community. Thank you.